So Dragon Ball Superhero comes out this Friday, August 19th. And if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go watch our interviews with quite a few members of the voice acting cast. Those are linked down below if you're watching this later. And if you're watching it now, just go to the Fanversation page after this is over and go watch them because they're super funny.
Yeah.
They were very funny.
For those wondering where you can get tickets, AMC sends out these emails if you're part of their program every week, like, hey, do you have weekend plans? Hey, here's what's in theaters. The first thing was like Fall, I think, with that new horror movie about people getting stuck up a pole. And then right under it, second billing right under the new horror movie for August, Superhero, right there. So AMC is like, hey, we're putting it in our email blast. Y'all should come see it. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult in the US to find yourself a showing. I cannot vouch for any other country, but if you're in the US, probably if you're closer to a larger city. I can't vouch for small city, small theaters, but like, check your local theater, see if they've got some showings. We know AMC definitely does.
Yeah, there's some local theaters by me too that aren't like big chains and they have it. And also I wanted to add, don't worry, the interviews are spoiler free, so you can totally watch our interviews. It's both of us with the magic of technology. And we're able to talk to them. So yay. But yes, we're gonna go into a spoiler free review. There we go. Words. So don't worry, we're not gonna spoil anything. As someone who is not as up to date with the franchise, like I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. I've seen a couple of the more recent movies. I think the last one I saw was Resurrection
F.
Yep. I think it was that one.
Yep.
I didn't see Broly, so I saw like what was right before that. So I was not too lost. I very much enjoyed it. So you could take people to it that like don't really know a ton about Dragon Ball because they have a lot of really great moments I love where they're just like, hey, we're going to explain this. Or wait, who is that? Without it feeling corny. Or at least for me, it didn't feel too much, but it was like a quick like, hey, let's explain this real quick. And it's also some new characters. So then it is like, don't worry, you don't need to know who they are.
I honestly disagree on taking someone in blind.
Well, maybe. What about like someone like me who's seen?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This movie was built for fans of Dragon Ball who might have been out of the franchise for a bit, for people who remember the classics, for people who miss that particular tone. This movie was built for people who remember early DBZ. This movie was definitely built for Piccolo fans. If you are a Piccolo fan, you will be well fed. This was an amazing Piccolo movie. It was a super solid Gohan movie. I thought it was going to be like a great Gohan movie. It's a good Gohan movie. It's a fantastic Piccolo movie. Like, my dude carries the story. So and things we already know from the trailers, we're looking at the revival of the Red Ribbon Army. We're looking at things that are from classic Dragon Ball coming back. And a lot of the tone of the movie is very classic Dragon Ball as well, which for those of you who watched it, read the manga, way back when Toonami gave us Dragon Ball Z and then went, oh, wait, there's a whole bunch of episodes that take place before this? We can license those too? We have to censor the hell out of them to show them to kids? Cool, let's go. So for those of you who remember the early 2000s Toonami run of Dragon Ball, that too, you remember that it had more of a comedic tone and that it was good at building stakes when it needed to, but it was very much an action comedy. And that is a lot of what this movie does. It leans a lot more into the comedy bent than the action bent, to the point where sometimes it has tone issues and struggles to really establish stakes when it needs them. And there are some points in this movie where it's like, these should be very high stakes, but we're still kind of randomly cutting comedy in here and it undercuts it a little bit. There are a few weird tone issues. And I do think that this movie is actually going to play better. Because what Dragon Ball Super likes to do as a series, it gives us these great movies and then it expands them and cuts them up into episodes and puts them into the show. And sometimes that works well for the story, and sometimes that just adds padding that it doesn't really need. Really depends on the story they're telling. This movie, I think, is going to play better as a series of episodes. Just given the way that it's built, given what it covers, given the tone. I really do think that this is going to play better just when it becomes 4 or 5 hours worth of content as opposed to 100. How was it, like 120 minutes? I
It
think
was like
something
a
like that.
2-hour movie. Yeah.
Yeah, 120 minutes, give or take.
Solid movie.
Yeah, very. But I think it's going to play better when they expand it a little bit, play with it a little more, and we can work more with that comedy, but we can also have episodes that are very much about the more dramatic stakes that we have at points. So it's not something I usually say for a Dragon Ball Super movie. They're usually fairly solid as films, and this is a fairly solid film, but I do think it'll work better expanded as its own little arc in the series of Dragon Ball Super.
What
That's
do you
my
think of the
opinion.
animation as someone who's been watching it for a bit? Because I'm a little out of touch on it, and I was a little like, not really sure when I first saw the trailer. But once the movie got going, I was like, no, I'm in it. I'm all right. Yeah, I liked it.
There's some give and take. For one, 3D animation is not automatically bad. We're not saying that here. That's not true.
True.
And I can
There's
understand
different
why.
kinds. So.
Exactly. And I can understand why they would do 3D animation here. They were actually working with it already in parts of Resurrection F and parts of Broly. So not surprised that they worked with it fully here. There were parts of it that were absolutely great. It's not jarring once you get used to it. It's well done. It's well rigged. It's well animated. Like, there are no issues with that. The one issue I had is that the cinematography occasionally went a little crazy. They really like their wraparound shots where we've got that full, like, I hesitate to call it like the Matrix camera shot where, you freeze frame and you go around. It doesn't freeze frame and go around, but it likes to do that big wraparound sweeping camera shot. And like the first time they do it, it's amazing, but they keep doing it. So it kind of feels a little bit like lens flares in a J.J. Abrams film. And there were a few of those shots where I was like, I need you to pull back and show me the wide because I want to see the fight choreography here. The cinematography is taking away from what's actually happening on screen. So that felt a little more like, look at this awesome thing that we can do. We really want to impress the audience. Let's keep doing it. And I think that backfired a little bit. And that doesn't really surprise me that it happened in their first all 3D animated movie, because it's like, we can do the thing. Why shouldn't we do the thing? And that's when you wind up in Jurassic Park. You were so excited that you could, that you didn't think about whether you should. Like, that's the only issue.
It didn't bother me that much, but I do feel you on.
Oh, it stood out to me.
Some fights, though, similar to like dance in movies, you're like, I want a wide shot. I want to see everything in fight choreography. I don't think it bothered me too much, but I get what you're saying.
And I mean, again, we're talking about the animation here. Yeah. That's the only critique I have, is that they did a fancy camera angle too many times and it took away from one or two of the fights. But it's not like it was unwatchable. Far from it. And I had a great time. I laughed. Yeah. I enjoyed it. There were a few plot twists that were like, oh, wow, we're having fun here. And the new characters were, to a T, a delight. Absolute delight. Yes. Love these characters. Enjoy the villains. Enjoy all of them. It's a good time. I really liked them all. There were a few gags, especially with Gamma 2, where I just absolutely amazing. No notes. Perfection. And let's be real, everyone in that movie killed it.
Oh, yeah. Dub
because we saw the
phenomenal.
Dub.
Yes.
We saw the dub
and I'm
premiere,
not normally
actually.
A dub preference person, but this one I was like, everybody knocked it out of the park. Great. Solid. And like, you believed everybody. Like, they sounded great. Casting was great for the new characters, like the choices of what that character sounds like. Yes. So good.
Dr. Hedo was amazing. All of them were really, really good. And again, so many of us grew up with the dub, with the different iterations of the dub as well. So it's like, these are the character voices that we know. Our returning actors, of course, know exactly what they're doing. Our newer actors are doing extremely well. And for those going, okay, but Broly, though, Johnny Young, Bosch, killing it. So yeah, it was a great dub cast, incredible performances, and I have not seen the sub, so I can't vouch for it either way. I'm sure it's amazing, but like, I keep coming back to Xeno's performance as Gamma 2. And it's partially because Gamma 2, the Gammas are a character archetype and a character duo that I like, but man, he was the perfect choice. Like, all of them were amazing. Alex Lee killed it. I'm kind of dying that I cannot remember the name of the actor who did Dr. Hedo. Like, I can see his face and
Aguilar.
my brain gave up.
Zach.
Thank you. Thank you, Zach Aguilar. Yes. Also killed it. So much fun. So yeah, A+ job on the cast. Y'all amazing.
Yes, and if you are able to and feel comfortable doing so, do highly recommend with an audience. Anime movies really are the best with an audience, to hear the cheering, hear the laughing, and just to get that energy. So,
and opening weekend with an audience of fans. Yes, that too.
There is a post-credit scene, so stick in there. Yes.
The post-credit scene is also a thing where it's like, if you've been a fan of this franchise for a while, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it anyway, but it really hits more for the I have been in it to win it since the early 90s.
Yeah. So yes, go check out Dragon Ball Super Superhero.
Yes.
Started on Friday, August 19th. And then also, again, go check out our interviews with the cast, linked below, but also here on the Fanversation channel. And also recently, we just made a anime voice actor playlist too. So if you haven't seen some of those interviews and you're interested in anime voice actors, as well as I think additional ones too, but go check out that playlist because there's a whole bunch of them.